Hey guys, in this video I'm going to explain the checked property of checkboxes and radio buttons. All the checked property does is let us know if a checkbox or a radio button is selected. Accessing the checked property will give us a Boolean value, true or false. Heading to our HTML document, let's create a checkbox. Input, the type will equal checkbox. Give this checkbox a unique ID. My checkbox is good. There's our checkbox, but we should probably add a label because we don't know what it's for. Label for equals copy your ID, paste it, close the label. Let's add some text. Perhaps this is a subscribe button. We can check either the checkbox itself or click on the label to check that. Then we will add a button. This will be a submit button. Button ID equals myButton. Let's close it, add some text, submit. I think I'll add this on a new line. I'll add a line break, and that should be good for now. Heading to our JavaScript file, when we click on this button, we would like to do something. First, we will select this button by typing document.getElementById. The ID of that button was myButton. Set the onclick event attribute equal to a function. When we click on this button, what would we like to do? I would like to see if this checkbox is checked or not. I'll use an if-else statement. If that checkbox is checked, we'll do something. If not, we'll do something else. Within the parentheses, we'll select this checkbox. Document.getElementById. The ID of that checkbox was myCheckBox. Follow this with the checked property. We can check to see if this is true by using the comparison operator, which is two equal signs, true. This is optional, but you don't necessarily need to write that. If document.getElementById, my checkbox is checked. What are we going to do? Let's let the user know that they're subscribed. Console.log, you are subscribed. Else, if this checkbox is not checked, then you are not subscribed. Okay, let's try it. I'll just press submit. You are not subscribed. I'll reload the page, check that checkbox again, press submit. You are subscribed. Now, this can be a little difficult to read. What I like to do is store elements within a variable for readability. I'm going to copy this section, then assign it to a variable, maybe a constant. Const myCheckBox equals document.getElementById myCheckBox. We can refer to this element by this variable name. If myCheckBox is checked. This would do the same thing. I find it easier to read. Okay, level 2. Let's do this again, but with radio buttons. Heading back to our HTML file, we'll create 3 radio buttons. Input type equals radio. These will all have the same name. Perhaps this will be card for payment. What kind of card are you going to use? The ID of the first button will be a Visa button, if they're paying with a Visa card. Okay, let's copy this, paste it 2 times. A Mastercard button. Then what about PayPal button? I'm gonna add a line break at the end. Then let's add some labels. Label, close it. The for attribute will be the same as the ID. The text will be Visa, then Mastercard, Mastercard, lastly PayPal, PayPal. Okay, we have our 3 payment options. Since these 3 radio buttons are within the same group, we can only select one. Be sure to save everything. Heading back to our JavaScript file, let's get all of the buttons and store them within a variable. Const visaBtn equals document.getElementById. The ID was visaBtn. Then we have MastercardBtn. Then PayPalBtn. Okay, we have our buttons. Using if-else statements, we'll check to see which of these buttons is selected. First, we'll check our visaBtn. If visaBtn.checked, then we'll display a message. You are paying with a Visa. Else if MastercardBtn is checked, you are paying with a Mastercard. Else if PayPalBtn is checked, you are paying with PayPal. Else, no radio button must be selected. You must select a payment type. Let's try this. I'll select Visa, press submit. You are paying with the Visa. Mastercard, submit. You are paying with the Mastercard. PayPal, submit. You are paying with PayPal. I'll refresh the page, not select anything. That will execute the else statement. You must select a payment type. So yeah, everybody, that is the checked property. They're typically found within checkboxes and radio buttons. You can access this property by following a checkbox or a radio button with .checked. This value will be true or false. If it's true, you can do something. If not, you can do something else. So yeah, that's the checked property, everybody. If you would like a copy of all this code, I'll post all of this in the comment section down below. And well, yeah, that's the checked property in JavaScript.